So we know that hormone like insulin, they can decrease the blood glucose level. But is that all the function of insulin? So here we'll talk about the 10 function of insulin. So insulin can increase the reuptake of glucose. Reuptake of glucose is like basically absorbing glucose into a cell. Because we usually have glucose in the blood, and then in order to convert glucose into glycogen, we have to absorb the glucose from the blood into the cytoplasm of the cell first. So it can reuptake. Other than glucose, it can also increase the reuptake of amino acid. Also, it can increase the reuptake of fatty acid, but in this case, it will be by the adipose side instead of just liver cell or muscle cell. And after the reuptake of this nutrient, what would it do? Usually, it can the insulin can also induce the storage of this molecule. Storage of glucose as glycogen, storage of glucose and fatty acid as triacylglycerol. TAG stands for triacylglycerol. And storage of amino acid as protein. Of course, during the endocrine system, we already learned that insulin can convert glucose into glycogen. So insulin can increase the synthesis of glycogen of course in liver and skeletal muscle. And remember, in the post-absorptive state that we just talked about in the last video, post-absorptive post-absorptive state, we have a process called glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis, it occurs in the liver. It is the liver breaking down the glycogen stored in the liver to form a glucose. And insulin can inhibit the enzyme that causes the glycogenolysis. And insulin can, as you can see that at this part, insulin can induce the storage of glucose and fatty acid as TAG. So it can increase the fat synthesis location adipocyte. Remember, in the post-absorptive state, after our body finishes using up glucose and glycogen, what is the next molecule our body will utilize? It is the body fat or triglycerol in the adipocyte. So the breaking down of the body fat into glycerol and fatty acid, we call it lipolysis. And so insulin can inhibit. Well, I shouldn't say inhibit. That's too extreme. Insulin can decrease lipolysis. So these are the 10 functions of insulin. I will probably test you in the exam. And two questions I want to ask you. Is insulin an anabolic hormone or catabolic hormone? Is insulin an anabolic hormone or catabolic hormone? So you can see that insulin induces glycogen synthesis, so you will combine the monomer glucose together to form glycogen. You also increase the fat synthesis. That means that you will increase the making of the lipid. That means you combine fatty acid and glycerol to make lipid. That means you will also prevent the breaking down of the glycogen. Will prevent the breaking down of lipid. So in this case, insulin is actually building up macromolecule, building up the biological molecule instead of breaking them down. So if it is building up, then it is anabolic, not catabolic, because catabolic is breaking down. So insulin is an anabolic hormone. Second question, is insulin a hormone in the absorptive state or post-absorptive state? When will you secrete insulin? Of course, after we finish eating. Because after we finish eating, we have a lot of glucose, amino acid, and fatty acid. So insulin is a hormone in the absorptive state. So insulin is an absorptive state hormone.